Today on Open Minds UFO Report, a witness says his photos show a UFO changing shape. A witness in Ohio videotapes a sphere UFO inside a translucent square. And another witness claims as a kid she handled debris from the Roswell UFO crash. Your Open Minds UFO Report starts now. Hello and welcome to the Open Minds UFO Report. My name is Alejandro Rojas. A witness in Grass Valley, California reported watching and photographing a sphere-shaped UFO that seemed to change shape during a 7-minute sighting, according to a UFO sighting report sent to the Mutual UFO Network known as MUFON. The object was first seen at 7:30 p.m. on May 28th when the witness stepped outside onto a back deck. Just by pure chance, I looked up and noticed a tiny dot high in the sky, the witness stated. At first I thought it was a planet, but after observing I realized it was slowly moving from left to right, east to south in a slight upward angle. It was moving much too fast to be a planet and much too slow to be a satellite. The witness called for his roommate to grab a camera and the roommate was able to snap 5 pictures. The witness continued, "The object stopped moving from left to right and began moving straight up until it crossed a very high altitude transparent cloud. Once it was in the area of the cloud, it slowly faded from sight. The entire event lasted about 7 minutes. The witness stated that he was aware the International Space Station was scheduled to fly over his area, but not until 9:30 p.m., 2 hours after they spotted the UFO. The witness said, "To the naked eye, the object appeared spherical and brighter on the side of the sun. Occasionally, the object would dim. At no time did it look self-luminous, nor did it twinkle. I would say that it looked reflective, then less reflective, then reflective again, but with no apparent pattern." The two attempted to analyze the images. My roommate downloaded the photographs to his laptop, opened them in an image viewer, and zoomed in up to 800%. Of the 5 photographs, we had images of very different objects, even though they were all the same object. One image appeared as a fuzzy sphere, one a metallic sphere, one very fuzzy but with 2 points of reflection, one oblong and orange with what looks like a silver sphere at the bottom, and lastly one that looked like an orange gold bell with a number of reflective spheres at its base. No 2 images are alike, yet all are of the same object, only moments apart. The witness also noted that Beale Air Force Base is about 30 miles west of where the sighting took place. California MUFON field investigator Donna Rothenbaum is investigating. An Ohio witness in the town of Rudolph reported watching and videotaping a UFO described as a large ball within a translucent square, according to another MUFON report. The reporting witness and her husband were outside sitting in the backyard at about 9:30 p.m. on May 26 when the incident began. The witness wrote, "He suddenly looked over my shoulder and said, 'What the hell is that?' The object was almost directly over us and was huge." The witness described the object. It was a large translucent square, and within the square was a very bright pulsating white light that changed to a faint glowing red light and then back to white. We watched it slowly and silently float across the sky until it was out of our view due to the tree line. It moved slower than a plane. We both videotaped it with our smartphones. The case was reported to MUFON on May 27th and investigated by Ohio field investigator Donovan Lee and closed as an unknown. The object was spherical in shape and appeared to be glowing and or pulsating as if it was burning, Lee reported in the MUFON case file. Lee says he is familiar with the area and that it is in the middle of nowhere and nothing is around but farmland. Lee says the object moved too slow to be an airplane. However, a light that appears to be burning inside of a translucent square is a very good description of a Chinese lantern. Even so, Lee says the object appears to be moving too slow to be a balloon or kite and is moving the opposite direction of the breeze. He also says the witnesses reported the object appearing to change size, and he believes this change in size can be seen in the video. It should be noted that winds do change direction at different altitudes. However, Lee continues, the most unique aspect about this case is that there are 2 correlating cases of possibly the same type object. I shared the video from this case with the witness in both cases, and both verbally indicated that the object was, in their opinion, the same. In an interview on YouTube posted by a UFO researcher, a woman claims to have obtained material from the famous alleged crash of an extraterrestrial spacecraft near Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. She says she was a child at the time, and she and her friend tested the material before having to return it. The video was posted on YouTube by UFO researcher Mary Joyce, who runs a website called Skyships Over Cashiers. Via email, Joyce wrote me that she usually transcribes alleged witness testimony and posts it as a story. However, she felt the witness, who chose to remain anonymous, was so compelling in her retelling that she had to let readers experience her words for themselves.
It's now I feel kind of comfortable to talk about it. And all those other years I wouldn't, because I respected what his dad said. Don't tell. I said I wasn't going to tell. I keep my word. It doesn't matter. I keep my word, so I was not going to tell. But I think it's time now.
Okay. All right. Now, how in the world did you get the access to the piece of metal?
Joyce refers to the witness as Jill, and the way Jill articulates her story makes for a compelling and interesting listen. So much so, we wanted to share the story with our readers as well. Joyce says she had known Jill for years before Jill shared her story with her, and several years had passed before Jill would allow Joyce to share it. Jill and Joyce assume the metal comes from the Roswell incident, and the descriptions given by Jill in the interview are similar to those described by witnesses who allege to have handled the debris from the object that crashed in Roswell. In the interview, Jill says in 1957 she was about 10 years old and her father was a pilot with the U.S. Air Force. Jill says her father was out on duty all over the world but was stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Her father was friends with the father of a boy named John, whom Jill describes as her boyfriend. John's father was a colonel and worked out of a building on the outskirts of the base. John had told Jill that if you look into the building his father works in, you would not see anything because his office is underground. John said his father had to take an elevator down to his office. Jill described the colonel as a stoic individual. He was very serious and not kid-friendly like her father. However, she did respect him very much. One day, John told Jill he had a surprise for her and showed her a strange metal that Jill remembered to be about 8 by 11 inches, similar to a sheet of paper. She said it looked like aluminum, but it was heavier. John told her to stand back. He then wadded up the sheet of metal and threw it at Jill. Before the metal could reach her, it transformed back into a flat sheet. This feature is similar to a property of the metal described by others who say they handled the Roswell debris. Jill says John also told her to grab a pair of scissors and try to cut the metal, but they were not able to cut it. Over the next week, the children experimented with the metal. They tried to burn it, but it would not get damaged and would remain at room temperature. The children were careful to keep the metal secret because John knew he was not supposed to have it. One night, while riding her bike with the metal in her bicycle basket, Jill noticed the metal reacted strangely when light hit it. However, she was not able to experiment with this newfound property. John and his father came to her home and the colonel asked for the material back. The colonel told Jill she never saw or had the material and not to tell anyone about it. He told her he could lose his job if anyone found out they had it. I was terrified of the man, so of course I was not going to say anything, Jill explained, and for many years I didn't. It was a mix of fear and respect that kept Jill silent, and she believed if she had told anyone, John's father would have lost his job, so she kept the secret for decades until now. Naturally, I asked her why she decided to do the interview, Joyce wrote me in her email. She just said it was time because she was 69 years old and the people who would be hurt by telling the story were no longer living. She also had to wrestle with her conscience because she had made a solemn promise and she always keeps her promises. Joyce believes Jill's story. She says, I should add that Jill is a professional who is well known and well respected in the county where we live. According to Joyce, she met Jill in 1998, and although Joyce has an interest in UFOs, Jill did not tell her the story about the metal until 2008. Joyce said, of course I thought what a great story this would make and asked her if I could interview her about it. Her answer was, well, I'll have to think about that. Periodically, I'd ask her again and always got the same answer. Then after 8 years, she agreed to be interviewed, but I had to promise to always keep her identity a secret. As hard as it is to believe, she hasn't even told her husband and son. Listen to the audio in the YouTube video at the top of our story at openminds.tv. That's your Open Minds UFO report for today. You can find these stories and more at openminds.tv. We post fresh UFO news daily. You can also follow us on Twitter at OpenMindsTV, and you can find us on Facebook. The 25th International UFO Congress was a great success, and DVDs of the lecture can be purchased at our online store. They can also be viewed on our video portal, an online streaming service. For one low price, you can view an archive of lectures from past UFO Congress events, and more videos are being added regularly. Our store and our video portal can be found at openminds.tv. We have also opened up registration for the 26th Annual International UFO Congress. Speakers will be listed soon, but if you want to get your tickets at hugely discounted prices, order your super early bird tickets now at ufocongress.com. Let us know if you enjoyed today's episode by liking the episode on YouTube and leaving us your comments in the section below. You can also download our podcast, Open Minds UFO Radio, on iTunes or at openminds.tv/radio. Thanks again for joining us today. For OpenMinds.tv, I'm Alejandro Rojas.